Pretend you're our father.
All right, my daughters, let's enjoy our tea.
The tea shop promised David Matthews sat alone at his usual corner table in the Grand Plaza Hotel's restaurant, watching steam rise from his Earl Grey tea. The Sunday evening ritual had become sacred to him, a quiet moment of reflection in the same spot where he and Emily used to celebrate their weekly date nights before the accident took her away 3 years ago. The golden chandeliers overhead cast dancing shadows across the pristine white tablecloth. Well-dressed couples murmured around him, their laughter a bittersweet reminder of what he'd lost. At 32, David had resigned himself to these solitary evenings, finding a strange comfort in the familiar loneliness. He was raising the delicate china cup to his lips when he caught sight of movement in his peripheral vision. 3 identical blonde girls, no older than 6, were peeking at him from behind a marble column near the entrance. They wore matching pale pink dresses with white cardigans, their hair adorned with sparkly butterfly clips. Their blue eyes studied him with an intensity that seemed far too serious for children their age. David couldn't help but smile at their obvious attempt at stealth. One of the girls noticed his expression and quickly ducked behind the column, pulling her sisters with her. He heard urgent whispers and stifled giggles before all 3 blonde heads popped out again, this time with determined expressions replacing their shyness. Before he could return to his tea, the trio marched toward his table with purpose, their little patent leather shoes clicking against the polished marble floor. They stopped a few feet away, exchanging glances with each other as if silently deciding who should speak first. "Mister?" The tallest of the 3 finally whispered, her small voice barely audible over the ambient classical music. David set down his cup carefully and turned to face them properly. "Yes, sweetheart? Are you girls lost?" The 3 sisters moved closer, forming a tight huddle. Their little hands simultaneously rose to cover their mouths as they glanced nervously toward the restaurant entrance. David followed their gaze and spotted a young woman in a burgundy dress standing near the hostess stand. She appeared to be in her late 20s, dark hair falling in waves past her shoulders, and she was clearly distressed. The hostess, a stern-looking woman with her hair pulled back in a severe bun, was shaking her head firmly, her expression disapproving. "We're not lost," the middle triplet said, drawing David's attention back. "But we need your help. It's really, really important." David leaned forward, genuine concern replacing his initial amusement. "What kind of help? Are you girls okay? Is that your mother over there?" The girls nodded in unison, their expressions growing more anxious. "That mean lady won't let Mommy have a table," the smallest triplet explained, her bottom lip trembling slightly. "She says this restaurant has rules about families." The tallest girl took a deep breath, as if gathering courage, and looked directly into David's eyes. "She says we need a daddy with us, or we can't eat here. But our daddy—" She paused, her voice dropping to barely a whisper. "Our daddy died last year." David's chest tightened. He knew that particular pain all too well. "So we were wondering," the middle sister continued, her words tumbling out quickly now, "if maybe you could you pretend you're our father? Just for tonight? Just so Mommy doesn't cry again?" The request hit David like a physical blow. He sat back, stunned, looking from one innocent face to another. These 3 little girls, despite their obvious grief, were trying to protect their mother from disappointment, from more pain. "Please, mister," the smallest one added, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "It's Mommy's birthday and we saved up our allowance for 3 whole months to bring her here. She doesn't know we planned it. We wanted to surprise her." David glanced back at the woman in burgundy. She was wiping her eyes discreetly, trying to maintain composure while the hostess continued to speak to her in clipped, professional tones. He could see her shoulders sagging with defeat, could imagine her preparing to disappoint her daughters once again. 3 years ago, Emily had been planning their 5th wedding anniversary dinner at this very restaurant. She never made it. A drunk driver had seen to that on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. David had spent 3 years avoiding connection, avoiding pain, avoiding life itself. And now 3 grieving little girls were asking him to step back into it, even if just for an evening. "What are your names?" he asked softly. The tallest beamed. "I'm Sophie. This is Emma," she pointed to the middle sister, "and that's Lily." Well, Sophie, Emma, and Lily, David said, standing up and straightening his navy suit jacket. I think I can help you with that. The triplets' faces lit up simultaneously, their matching smiles transforming their worried expressions into pure joy. Really? Lily gasped. Really, David confirmed. But we need to make this convincing. Tell me about your mom. What's her name? Sarah, Emma supplied quickly. Sarah Mitchell. She's a teacher. She loves books and classical music, and she makes the best chocolate chip cookies in the whole world. And she's been really sad since Daddy died, Sophie added quietly, her earlier excitement dimming. She tries to hide it, but we hear her crying sometimes at night. David's throat constricted. He knelt down to the girl's level. Listen to me carefully. I'm going to go talk to that hostess and get your mom a table, but you need to understand something. I can pretend to be your father for tonight, to help your mom have a nice birthday dinner. But afterward, you need to promise me you'll always remember your real daddy, okay? No one can replace him. All three girls nodded solemnly. Our daddy was the best, Lily said firmly. But he would want Mommy to be happy again. He told us that before he went to heaven. David felt his eyes burning. He stood up quickly, clearing his throat. All right then. You three go back to your mom. I'll take care of this. The triplets scattered, running back to their mother. David watched as Sarah Mitchell dropped to her knees, gathering her daughters into a tight embrace, clearly asking them where they'd gone. David straightened his tie and walked purposefully toward the hostess stand. The stern woman looked up as he approached, her expression unchanging. Excuse me, David said, his voice carrying the authoritative tone he used in his courtroom practice. I believe there's been a misunderstanding. That woman and those three young ladies are with me. We have a reservation under Matthews. The hostess's eyebrows rose slightly. Mr. Matthews, your reservation was for one. I called earlier to modify it, David lied smoothly. Perhaps the message didn't reach you. It's my wife's birthday, and my daughters wanted to surprise her. The word wife felt foreign on his tongue after 3 years, but he pushed through the discomfort. The hostess consulted her computer, frowning. David pulled out his wallet, extracting a crisp $100 bill and placing it discreetly on the podium. I apologize for the confusion. I hope this can help rectify the situation. The woman's expression softened marginally. She glanced at Sarah and the triplets, then back at David. Of course, Mr. Matthews, right this way. David turned to Sarah, who was staring at him with wide, confused eyes. He walked over and extended his hand. Sarah? I'm David. I believe we have a table waiting. Sarah looked completely bewildered, but Sophie tugged on her dress urgently. Mommy, it's okay. We asked him to help us. Please don't be mad. Help you. I don't understand, Sarah began. David leaned closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. Your daughters love you very much. They've been planning this birthday surprise for months. They asked me to help them make it happen. Just for tonight. Please, let them have this. Sarah's eyes searched his face, clearly trying to understand this stranger's motives. David could see the internal struggle, the protective mother warring with the woman who hadn't seen her daughters this excited in over a year. Finally, she nodded slowly. Just for tonight, she whispered back. Just for tonight, David confirmed, as the hostess led them to the best table in the house, one near the window overlooking the city lights. David felt something shift inside his chest. The triplets chattered excitedly, pointing out the view to their mother. Sarah still looked uncertain, but there was a tentative smile on her lips as she listened to her daughter's enthusiasm. David held out her chair and she sat down gracefully, murmuring a soft thank you. The triplets scrambled into their seats, their earlier sadness completely replaced by bubbling excitement. As David took his own seat, he caught Sarah's eye across the table. In that moment, two broken people who understood loss in ways they'd never wanted to, shared a look of mutual understanding. The waiter appeared with menus, addressing them as the Matthews family, and David saw tears slip down Sarah's cheeks. But this time, she was smiling. Happy birthday, David said softly, raising his water glass. 3 small voices echoed, Happy birthday, Mommy! And for the first time in 3 years, David didn't feel quite so alone.